Hello everyone, this is fattoler speaking. I just wanted to give a little preamble to this episode for the benefit of future listeners. What you're about to hear is our first ever audio recording session, and as such, it's a little bit rough around the edges. The same can be said for the upcoming episode in which we talk about Sonic 1, because we haven't quite figured out the formula yet. So please forgive us for these teething problems. This session was recorded on the 7th of May 2017, but it is the second episode to be uploaded on the YouTube channel. The reason being is that we wanted to get our thoughts and feelings on the Sonic Forces custom character trailer up as soon as possible, and so we jumped the gun of our scheduling. On behalf of all the Fastcasters, I want to thank each and every one of you for the views, likes, subscriptions, commentary, feedback, all the rest of it, because it really does help push us forward and keep us recording more sessions. So without further ado, here is our introductory episode in which we introduce a few of the PodFasters, Fastcasters, whatever you want to call us. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to PodFAST, the show where we talk about the world's most successful Poochie. Today we have Garrico.
Hello.
Rick.
Yo.
Simple.
Blazes my life.
Tonight's conductor.
Howdy.
Yoto.
Hey.
And Blazy.
Simple's wrong, she's mine.
And
This
yours
is why
truly,
you're last.
fattoler. So, now that we have introduced our assortment of internet nobodies, let's juice and jam into our first topic, which I shall introduce by way of this video.
Everything's Archie. Archie's here. Betty's here. Veronica too. Reggie's here. Hey, Sonic the Hedgehog. Where are you?
That's about right. That's okay. Can I just say that how on point this is right now, especially given that Free Comic Book Day was yesterday?
Yes. So that's our situation as it is. Archie Sonic is dead, or maybe it's just resting. We just
Limbo.
do
just
not
love
know.
Probably the
I-
most
I-
accurate.
I was gonna say I brought this up a while ago, but I love how at the beginning of the month of April they kind of sent out a message. They're like, "Hey, I know that everybody's been waiting for new info on the Sonic Archie situation. Don't worry, we're gonna send out an email. We're gonna make sure everyone figures it out." And then like at the end of the month, they send out an email, and it's like, "Hey, so we're still figuring things out."
What was
Wow.
even the point?
I was like,
The
"Thanks
news
for that."
was
I
that there was no
by
news.
saying outright, it's not dead just yet.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, official word that they are at least still trying to salvage the series is better than the radio silence we've had for a good half a year now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm calling it merely resting, because we've had hiatuses like this before, although not as extended, so it's probably just they've f***ed up with the licensing and they just don't want to admit it. We'll get the comic eventually.
Man, we just licensed Monica the Hedgehog for like 4 years.
Archie the Hedgehog.
But this month's announcement is please don't cancel your subscriptions.
What they,
Basically,
what they actually
Mine ended anyway.
signed a contract to make a Sonic version of Riverdale, and so it's just going to be a bunch of people in costumes.
Wasn't that back to school issue that they had once?
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to Vidya. We've got Sonic Only Fools and Horses, and Forces even. What do you think of that so far? Not much recently released.
Cautious optimism.
I'm cautiously
I don't know what to
pessimistic.
make of Forces at all right now. I want it to be good. So far, I feel like it's been kind of being exactly what I've expected it to be, which is modern Sonic just being more of the same from the last couple of games that we've had. Good, but not necessarily enough to carry a game on its own. And Classic seems to be exactly the same thing as Generations was. For all the good and bad that entails. Mostly bad, if the Green Hill Zone, shoutouts to Nakamura saying it wasn't Green Hill and then it turning out to be Green Hill anyway. It looks like they didn't learn at all from their past mistakes, and that's what has me more concerned about Forces than anything.
Joke's on you, Green Hill Zone.
And then, who knows what the third character's gonna be?
It's gonna be you.
Character creator.
It's gonna be
and
character
all
creator.
the form that brings.
It's going to be Team Patroller.
There's going to be a new trailer, and it's going to come up with and introducing the latest cast member, and then it's going to be a big question mark, and it's going to go, you, and then you get to pick a guy. And that's
that'd be
exactly
like,
the same
wow, I
way.
can't believe
not
I'm
going to happen.
It's
It's
the
in the
same
game
cop
coming
out
out.
which they had in Time Magazine's Person of the Year when they can't
Hey,
be
that
bothered.
was me. I was Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
Yeah.
I printed that out and put that on the wall. But yeah, no, the new game's gonna come out, and 10 minutes into the release, it's gonna be Bubsies all over the internet.
I'm
gonna
going to
say
make
that,
Breezy the Hedgehog.
Bubsies and Sonic Shoes. Speaking of who else is going to be keeping an eye on the reaction on that front as soon as that word gets out.
Oh, the Twitter, of course.
I swear to God, 10 minutes
they
into
will
that game?
have like a slideshow of all the fan characters on their Tumblr, no doubt, and it'll just be Sonics, Sonichus, and Bubsies.
I'm waiting for them to just kind of show like a vaguely close enough, but not too close so they don't get in quote unquote trouble of Cold Steel.
I was gonna say that
You mean Super
I hope,
Scourge?
like, I do know that if that does happen, I can't wait for E3 for them to reveal that, so I can be like, wow, I can't believe I'm here at the death of the Sonic franchise.
You're going to
It
E3,
can always get worse, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, how many times have we been at the death of the franchise now? This is like 6?
I mean, I didn't even think Boom would be the death of the franchise, and
Basically, anytime a new Sonic game is revealed, it's usually heralded as the death of the franchise.
3D
Generations
was the death.
Was Colors
say
heralded
that,
as the death?
3D Blast was the death, then the first 3D game was the death.
Well, to be fair, after 3D Blast, there was basically a drought of Sonic for about 2 years.
3D is the drought of Sonic.
From 3D
Did we have
Blast.
Knuckles Chaotix to kind of... Well, that's
No, Knuckles Chaotix came before 3D Blast, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
It did.
basically
Knuckles
we
Chaotix
didn't
came before
have a
3D Blast, and then
mainline-
after that, all we had was R Extreme was in development but got canceled, and Sonic Team was all faffing about with like Knights and Burning Rangers. Shoutouts to both those games.
How dare they make other games than Sonic? Yeah,
I mean, their name is Sonic Team.
Well, we got Jam, but that was sort of a, just have this while we're working on something else, honest promise.
Jam was just Sonic Mega Collection with a nice cover.
Basically.
Yeah. I mean,
James was
I'm disappointed with Sonic Team, as Blazy said, because, yes, it's just, they haven't learned, and it's
No,
baffling.
they haven't. And like it boggles me because I'm wondering, is it that they won't change it, or is it that they can't change it?
That's
Are
the
they just
big
not
question. That's
competent enough to make classic Sonic better? Like, they spent years and they're just like, I don't know. I can't figure it out.
Well, it's
And
the
then meanwhile,
question.
Mania is
it's like a
sitting right
marriage.
there.
Who's really at the helm? Who is it that can't either won't or can't? Is it that both branches, the Japanese branch and the American branch, just have absolutely no idea of how to handle a classic Sonic game, or did they just completely forget and only Taxman can take it over? Or is it that Sega Sonic Team America knows what they're doing, they have good ideas, they are in tune with what the fandom wants, but the Japanese branch,
You mean
who
Iizuka?
has executive control over the franchise, pretty much has absolute veto power on what the vision of Sonic should be.
So basically, Iizuka and Nakamura are on everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
Real
That's
life
what I
example.
imagine it to be. I feel like America, well, the West in general, is more accepting of Sonic, and it's more popular over here than it is in Japan.
Always
So I
has
think
been, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I think what they've been trying to do is appeal to the Japanese demographic for quite a long time, and and in that way, they just sort of disappoint both sides, I guess.
Yeah.
It's because it's not ever going to take, really.
I mean, Japan just cares about merchandising with the hedgehogs, and that's about it.
To be fair, it's not like caring about merchandising is an un-American thing.
That's true, but I think it's a deep-seated thing about Sonic, I guess. I guess maybe that character design does not appeal in Japan. I think classic Sonic would probably work in Japan a lot better than modern Sonic.
I mean, I think he did.
Yeah.
If we're talking about it, I think we have.
I'm just looking beside gameplay. I'm just thinking in terms of the Japanese. If you look at anime, it's derived originally from classic Disney style Felix the Cat-ish animation from the 1930s and 40s. Sonic's original design, classic design, is also from that era. And so what's happened is that Sonic, when he became modernized, became more anime. So it sort of went full circle, and weirdly it's less appealing to the Japanese because it's diluting what was originally, popular with his design. That's just my one theory.
I think part of it is also kind of that Sonic was never really the end-all be-all for Sega in Japan the way that he was in the States rather.
And that's basically all you're getting now if you're still following Sega.
Yeah, which to be fair kind of reflects Sega's international focus. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. Sega does put out other games and stuff. We just don't get them.
I mean, Yakuza 0's Sega, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I love
Yakuza is Sega, Valkyria is Sega still, and they've been putting that out. They've been heavily focused on the PC market, especially with acquisitions of studios like Creative Assembly.
And Relic.
Yeah, Sega puts out, games, but they always put them out, under the radar, and so you're never really thinking, that's a Sega you're just oh, yeah, Sega's got production credits on that.
I mean, I doubt that Sega's PC games like Football Manager and Dawn of War and Total War are that popular in Japan. I don't know how popular PC gaming is in Japan, but I never really think it is that popular over there. And certainly,
I can say from people that I know that it most certainly isn't really over there. It's mostly just the realm. It has a very small niche, but for the most part, it's the realm of indie games and porn games.
And also mobile games.
Porn games.
And visual
That
novels.
too.
Which I'll
They really love mobile games over there.
Yeah.
They love mobile games, and Sega
they
still
love
has a
mobile
huge
games over
presence in
here.
arcades over there as well, and that's the big thing right there, is arcades.
Mobile indie porn game.
Okay, so quickfire opinions. Just keep it short and pithy. One sentence. What do you think of Forces? Blaze.
Has potential, could go either way.
Garrico.
I was hyped when I first saw the trailer until Classic appeared.
Rick.
I've learned not to have an opinion till the game actually comes out.
Simple.
I'm still waiting for Standing.
TC.
Cautious optimism, but no matter what, this is going to be controversial.
Yoto.
Yeah, I'm just super. I want it to be good, but it's just. Yeah, it's not looking great. It's looking very derivative.
Yeah. As for me, basically hoping for the best, expecting kind of but not going to be as bad as Sonic Lost World. Sonic Mania, what do you think?
I played it, actually. It's fun.
I've got a pre-order, and I'm
I want
waiting.
to roll down a hill again.
Man, remember Momentum?
I want a bubble shield off slopes.
Eagerly
I
awaiting
will
my
play
edition
someone
pre-order.
other than Sonic again in a mainline game.
I was going to say, I will. I was going to say, I will
main
say
line.
that Drop Dash is not. Drop Dash takes a lot more than I expected it does. Because I feel like I'm, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm geared towards releasing the button before I land, and it's no, to hold it in the air.
Well,
or it doesn't work.
It's just getting used to, I guess. I played it at Summer of Sonic, and I don't think that version had the drop dash in it yet, but I might have just been crap at playing it.
You
It's
just
fun.
have to hit the jump button again while you're in air. It's just replacing his...
It replaces the Insta Shield from 3.
There's only two things wrong with it from my perspective. First of all, too many rehashed levels. Secondly, there is that sensation of A, the fans know better than Sonic Team, and B, Sonic's just having to rely on a sort of a fan hack. I know it's not actually a hack of or a build upon an older game, but it doesn't help Sonic Team.
I mean, Sonic Team's been in a pretty bad position lately in regards to the classic games, especially. I mean,
Well, it's because it's all new people. It's not
not
any of the original.
entirely, because like Izuka's
Yeah, not
been
entirely,
there
though.
since 3 and Knuckles. I don't remember what he did exactly, but I know
He was the
there.
trash guy. He took out the garbage.
Like, in fact, let me
He saw
give me a
MJ
second.
once.
Keep on going. I'll look it up right now because I'm actually very curious to verify this.
He was the sanitation department.
Well, I think the problem isn't so much that they fumbled with Classic, but that they keep trying to bring up Classic again and again, and they fumble it.
Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that does anyone outside of Taxman actually know how to program a classic Sonic that plays like the actual Genesis games? What happened there? Did they lose the source code or what?
Given how many Saturn games Sega lost the source code to, they probably did.
I was gonna say, because like the advanced games felt like Sonic games, like,
And those were made by Dimps.
yeah, like, man, like, really, y'all can't figure it out? Y'all have had like, look, it was one thing when Sonic 4 came out and y'all fucked up, but it's like y'all have had like 14 years.
Well, 4 was Dimps when they were making a mobile game that they didn't even know was going to be called Sonic 4 until like a good chunk of the way through development.
True.
And that's why the physics are the way they are, is to make the game playable on a touchscreen. Though, to rewind very slightly to answer the thing from earlier, Izuka was a senior game designer on 3 and Knuckles.
Now that we've done the news, let us juice and jam into our first general discussion, which is, how did you get into Sonic? Now, we'll go around the board here, and Blazy, you start us off. How did you get into Sonic?
Okay, so I had honestly, from what I can tell, it happened honestly before even I really start actually remembering things, because I know my first game consoles were a Game Gear and a Genesis. The Genesis I had actually ended up getting from family members after I'd played it at their place.
May I just ask the
just
rough
kinda
age group you're in? Just
Like-
a general number.
Like this would have been anywhere from like 2 to 3 years old.
I mean, just so we know how.
Oh, how old I am?
Well, we don't need to say that if you want to. You can say like
Early 20s.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay.
like, don't ask a lady her age.
But carry on.
But yeah, so it was. It was very, very young, and one of their first games I actually remember actually getting new-ish was Spinball, actually. So
ever
it just
beat
kind
it?
of it's kind of what's that?
Did you ever beat it?
Oh hell no! It's just kind of always been there.
Garrico, how did you get into Sonic?
Well, I was quite young when we had our first consoles, because I grew up in a family that that had that weren't alien to gaming. So my dad, he played on gaming computers like Commodore and such. So and I had like a really old brother and another brother. I have two brothers. And
Two brothers.
and one of them was really into Sonic. So I think the first game I can recall playing was the demo disc for the Dreamcast. And from that, I remember us getting Sonic Adventures shortly after. That was pretty much the first game I played next to the original Sonic 3 collection on PC. So I had both experience with the Dreamcast Sonic and the classic series, which I think is good that I have, because I kind of appreciate both. And yeah, me and my brother used to just love playing Sonic and drawing him, doing lots of stupid comics and bad OC stuff.
It's the rite of passage.
Well, yeah, I'm interested to see those, but when about?
I don't have any OC stuff.
It's okay.
All of this would have been. How old am I now? It would have been probably 15, 16 years ago.
Okay, so 2001-ish, that sort of
Yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is my favourite game, just because it was so fundamental to my childhood.
Yeah. So, pretty big on it then, I see. And Rick, next up.
Oh, I was there at the beginning. I've seen some things. I
remember when me and Sonic went through Nam. It was
like I finished Spinball, man. I've been through it.
Don't get me started on Sonic Labyrinth.
I can still recall the level select for Spinball. My parents picked us up a Mega Drive back when it came out, when it had the pack-in for Altered Beast.
Oh, wow.
So I remember the following year when Sonic 1 came out, and we ended up loaning it from a neighbor. It was new. Like, it only just come out, and we played it for the first time. And I still remember, like, picking it up and going through it.
What was it like,
completely...
just that experience? Do you recall? The first time you
It was crazy. Like, play Altered Beast and imagine that's, like, the most high-tech game you've ever played. And you know how slow Altered Beast is and how clunky, right? That's slow for a beat 'em up.
From your grave.
Yeah, like that's slow from a beat 'em up, right? And then go from that just to Green Hill. Yeah. And as a kid, you're just like, holy, like there was nothing like it. It was crazy. And we had both a Mega Drive and a NES at the same time, so like there was a direct chance to play. You know, my first game really was Mario 1, and like my third game was Sonic 1. So that's like a kind of crazy comparison within a short time period.
Like going from Wii to Speed.
Yeah,
get to
like
see everything that Sega did that Nintendo didn't.
Yeah, like I still remember a time before Sonic when people were like, "Oh yeah, the mascot of Sega is this other guy, right? Or is this
Alex
other thing?"
Kidd.
And nobody knew.
I
it took like a year or
Alex
so.
Kidd.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did that.
Back in
That's
with
all I
Mass-
know. That's all I
right?
know.
That's what I remember as well. Simple. How did you get into Sonic?
My first Sonic game was the Mega Collection for PS2. Keep in mind that I'm like 19 right now. 19. I'm just going to round it out because I can't be bothered. September's close enough. I would play as Tails, not Sonic. I never really brought up the courage because I was a very scared child. I was scared of a lot of things.
No, Daddy, not again.
Okay.
It's too fast for me.
I entomb myself in my blankets when I sleep.
Okay, TC, tonight's conductor.
My introduction was, I want to say if I'm remembering correctly, for like Christmas 92, 93, getting the Genesis with Sonic 2 for Christmas, and that kind of just kicked it all off. Got Sonic 1 for my following birthday, found issue 0 of the comics in a Walden Books not too long after. This was all when Deke was starting to push the franchise in the West heavily with all its additional marketing. Started getting into the Saturday morning cartoon, Sat AM, and just kind of took off like a rolling boulder from there.
What's your age group, just so we know?
I was,
when was this? That's better.
4 when I was about 4 when Sonic 2 came out. So
okay, that's interesting. So we got 2 people here who were around at the very start, which is quite a relief. Yoto, how did you get into Sonic?
I remember this very vividly because growing up, the first console I ever got was a PlayStation 2, and I don't think I even had that yet. I'm very young. But when I was a kid, I just played lots of computer games like Pajama Sam, like everything from that.
Humongous Entertainment.
Yeah, Humongous Entertainment, like Pajama Sam and Putt Putt the Car. And, those are all like puzzle games. But one time I was in a store, like a Kohl's or something, and just on the floor randomly while my mom was shopping for clothes, I just saw a CD for a game, and I was like, wow, this game looks really cool, and I begged my mom to get it for me.
Wait, it was actually on the floor, like it had been
it
planted.
was just sitting. It was just sitting there on the floor, just in the middle of a store. Because I don't know if you've ever been to like a store in America, but there's just shit everywhere. No one gives a. People will just try on clothes.
I can believe it. I'm just thinking maybe the ghost of Sonic just dropped it there to you to find.
But I remember vividly because I did. I found it on the floor, and that game was Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And I took that game home, and I basically played it every day since I got it. And the funny part is that
you still haven't beaten it?
No, I've beaten it, but I didn't beat it throughout my entire childhood, and then I lost the game, and I refound the game, and then beat it in one night. But it was so like, because I was stupid and I couldn't make it past the carnival level. But I remember that vividly because that basically made Sonic like one of my favorite characters. I brought the game to the after school place, this Boys and Girls Club thing that I went to, and like I put it in the computer, and so like all my friends got to play Sonic 2, and we all got way into Sonic. But unfortunately for me, they all had like GameCubes and stuff, so around the time Sonic made the move to 3D, I fell way off because the only console I had was a PlayStation 2. So my first 3D Sonic after that was Heroes. So those were my first two Sonic games. Were Sonic, what's it called? Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and then Sonic Heroes. Like in that order, I went from.
So Heroes was your introduction to Amy.
Yeah, pretty much.
For those who don't know, who are listening, Yoto is an artist, as some of you may know, but he's also very much into a certain pink hedgehog, so plug that.
Sonia. No.
Oh yes, of course, Sonia. Real big Sonia fan. Loves her. Loves Urkel's.
I mean, Sonia's the
voice.
best in the franchise.
Yeah, I love. It was a Shakespearean decision to have all three.
You know, this story ends with like Yoto going back in time and dropping that disc down, and the store so he finds it in the future, right?
Yeah.
You see, what happens is that I learn the ability of Sonic. I become one with the Speed Force, and I can go run past the goalpost into the past.
Stop messing with the timelines, Yoto.
Okay, well, that's interesting, Yoto. As for me, it's quite an interesting story. Towards the end of 1990s, I can't say when, I lived abroad, and I had a friend whose older brother had a Mega Drive, and that's where I first played Sonic. So I'd have been about 8, 7, 6, I'm that sort of age. And I really liked it. I will be honest, it wasn't my favorite game because I was more into strategy games like Age of Empires 2 and Red Alert. So, and also Desert Strike, which I probably played more of that on that Mega Drive than Sonic. So, kind of a shameful thing to admit on a Sonic podcast that wasn't the hugest Sonic fan, but that's how
it's like going into a cooking podcast and being like, my favorite food with Hot Pockets.
You're fired as the host.
Yeah.
Going in and being Antoine.
But after that, I mean, I got Sonic Mega Collection Plus for the PS2. I played that quite a lot. I really, that's when I began to get into Sonic, but that was, of course, early 2000s. My first 3D game was Sonic Unleashed, actually. I got a PS4, and it was around... And this wasn't when it... No, PS3, yes.
Damn, you're talking about me going back into...
I just...
Using your Time Lord powers, aren't you?
No. My uncle works at Sony. He got me one.
Look, I'm not mad that you had a PlayStation 4 when Unleashed came out. I'm more mad that you have the one PlayStation 4 that's backwards compatible.
Has Sonic Unleashed on it.
Actually, I didn't get Sonic Unleashed until about 2000 and 10?
Favorite year?
So quite a fair bit after it came out. So that's how I got into Sonic. I first played the games on the Mega Drive, enjoyed them then. I then played them again on the PS2, and the first game I actually remember beating on that was Sonic Spinball, because I loved playing pinball games. I admit I did use the save feature, but there you go. I beat Spinball, and it was a bit of fun. So now let's talk about how we descended further into the madness. So, Blazy, how did it go on from there?
Okay, so started off with several of the Genesis and Game Gear games. From there, all the GameCube games and whatnot hit from there, and then of course you had the whole media blitz with Sonic X and everything. If anything, it just kind of kept going and going, with a few things like the occasional issue of the comic here and there, at least one of which I'm fairly certain did not have a positive influence on my development. Cough, cough. Fucking super special number, like, what was it, 7 or 9? The girl power one. Anyway,
girl power has no positive influence on anyone.
God, remember Spice Girls?
Anyway, it just kind of kept going and going. I actually fell out for a point. Like, Secret Rings was my personal 06, in that it made me drop the series for a bit. But then Generations happened, I ended up coming back, and now it's even worse than ever.
Okay, Garrico.
I was also going to say, no Sonic Rush happening didn't help either.
Yeah. Okay, Garrico, how did it develop from where you left off?
How did I descend to madness? Like I said, I had Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, and from there I just always loved just the series. I remember being quite young, being really into Sonic, and my brother comes up to me just like, "Oh, do you want to watch the Sonic movie?" And I'll be like, "There's a Sonic movie?" And why the Sonic movie? I mean, like the OVA.
Yeah.
And to us, that was just the fucking best. And then I learned there's a TV series, and I'm just like, oh, what? And this TV series, ironically, isn't Saturn that I found really cool. It was actually Sonic Underground.
Actually, you know what? That was the first exposure I think I had to Sonic, or that was at least the first, non-game exposure I got. In German.
Your obsession with Catella.
Yeah,
that's Sonic Adventure Sonic.
Adventures of Sonic.
I know. I said weird.
Yeah. So I've always been to the games. I found out the cartoons existed through Sonic Underground existing. Then I found out that Saturn
there were good
was a
Sonic
thing.
cartoons.
Yeah, and I remember my parents got me Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog on VHS, which I'm old enough to experience. That was a fun time. But then, I also discovered later on that Sonic X is this new Sonic cartoon on television, and me and my brother used to record episodes on videotapes and such and watch them over.
That.
And
Not Sonic X, but other things.
It took me a long time before I discovered the comics existed. Only
not even the
last
Freeway ones?
5 or 6 years. because I never knew it existed. And when I found out that they retained the Saturn cast, I was just like, I need to watch this or read this because I had an interest in the Sonic Saturn universe because I thought that was quite interesting.
You just sat the comics down. I'm gonna watch these.
Yeah.
Just sit and watch it on the table.
Okay, Rick. How did it go on from, all the way back when it started off with the Mega Drive games?
There was no escape. I mean, like I
That's a
played
very
one.
foreboding start.
Yeah, like I played one, I played two when it hit, and then around the same time you have all the cartoons coming out. So at one point, Adventures is on the air. That used to be on like a Saturday morning, and every so often you'd get an episode of Sat AM, which to me was always kind of weird because Adventures was always like the English show and Sat AM was always the American show because of the way the voice acting went, right? Because Long John Baldry was English and it was kind of goofy, so I was like, oh, okay, that's the one that they air all the time. And then it was way rarer to see Sat AM on TV, and the whole cast was American, so I was like, oh, well, that's obviously the American show, and there's two for some reason.
Well, actually,
So those
it is interesting you bring that up because I think Adventures is more popular in the UK than Satam is, and we can get into that later. But that's an interesting observation.
Yeah, as a kid, I was only little, so I always thought one was American, one was English. I was like, oh, there's just two shows because there obviously couldn't have been two shows from the same company with the same staff at the same time. That was ridiculous.
I guess that
People never understood.
I guess you didn't read the credits then, did you?
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
So-
Deek.
Like, I was gonna say, like, that's just something random that it's just like, I always think, like, yeah, that would never happen again. To just have, like, one IP and it's like, hey, let's make two shows.
Well, yeah, I've got a lot to say about that.
Yeah,
Anyway, carry on, Rick.
So that happened. At the same time, I found the first issue of the comic in a supermarket in the UK, which was issue 8, which was the origin of Sonic, which they came up with in the Fleetway books, where he was like a little brown hedgehog.
Right?
Yes, Fleetway.
Issue of SDC I found was issue 8. It all just sort of spiraled from there because I remember the first 3D game I played was Adventure 1, which was the reason I bought a Dreamcast. Because I had no idea at the time that Sonic had even gone 3D. I found a guy selling Dreamcasts in a local shopping center, and that he was advertising it with that and Soul Calibur, and I was just like, okay, I'm buying this now. As for I fell out as well at a certain point. There was a point where I think it was Heroes, which to me was just that was the point where I dropped the franchise almost wholesale because I got to Heroes and was like, no. And I still played the stuff like the spin-offs. I was playing Riders. I had an absolute ball with Riders at the same time as just ignoring the mainline games up until I think Unleashed, which I have no idea how that got me back in, especially since I bought the Wii version.
Oh wow!
So that was
That is
just
something we haven't seen.
I picked the
I
Wii version.
Unleashed was kind of the point where I sort of fell out because I don't know. I got to a point where I was just sort of ignoring Sonic for quite a while. This is like back in secondary school, where you'd get bullied if you liked Sonic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I was bullied anyway, so that didn't really bother me.
Yeah, like
I was already a nerd.
I mean, I was around like say 15 or 17 or something when Heroes hit, and that to me was just it was a kid's game at that point, especially with like the cutscenes and the gameplay and stuff. I was like, no, I'm too cool for this. I'm gonna go play something else.
I'm gonna go play Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, but the thing is as a kid, I never owned any of the core Genesis games, like the Mega Drive games. The only two I actually ended up owning was Spinball and 3D Blast. But I played all the others, and I ended up loaning them and lending them and things like that. But it was a juggernaut.
That's the great thing about old games, having physical cartridges, being able to just borrow them.
Like, I still remember how mind-blowing it was that you could plug one cartridge into another. Like, the genius
Log on
of putting
technology.
Voltron that.
I remember when
CD and Knuckles
just carrying around memory cards to someone else's house to carry on your save games. That was a pretty amazing thing.
I need to play as Mewtwo.
There was 1 year for Christmas where I got 3 copies of the same Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog VHS tape, and I had to go and take 2 back to the shop after Christmas, and then they were like, "Oh, you've got a copy." I was like, "I have 2."
Yeah.
I get this thing 3 times over. Do you have any other tapes? And they were like, "No, there's only 1 VHS of the show out at this point." And I was like, "Well, I don't know what to get now, because there is no other show in existence."
So what did you get then? Do you remember?
as replacements, I have no idea. Like, all I remember is how funny it was that I opened something, I was like, oh, look, this is so cool, and then I opened the next one, I was like, oh, yeah, this is the same thing, and then by the time I got to the third one, everybody around the table was laughing, like, yeah, well, we knew you liked Sonic, so, you know,
Yeah.
we
Okay,
bought this.
simple.
I'm like, well, good job, guys.
How did you
So-
progress?
I progressed
Or
via
degressed.
Sonic. I degressed, yes.
Digress?
Dude, how did you ruin your life with Sonic the Hedgehog?
I went too fast. So
Deteriorated.
Heroes
It's
was
not-
my-
it's not
Heroes was my
degressed,
first-
it's deteriorated. Sorry.
yeah, Heroes was my first 3D game, and then just it kind of went to an autistic obsession after that. I do have Asperger's, but that's not the point. I never really stopped liking Sonic. It's kind of a similar thing with like trains, because I grew up watching Thomas, and the trains thing never kind of left. So I'm a railway enthusiast.
Oh, I actually got some Hornby myself, but conversation
Ooh.
for another time.
So it's just like I would go in and out of phases. I started learning how to draw Sonic. I can draw Sonic pretty easily without like too much help, without too much guiding circles and stuff. But besides the point. The comics were a fairly recent thing. There was like a point in my life 2 years ago during the summer where all I did was read the Sonic comics via a comic reader, drink chocolate milk, and eat goldfish, and that was a low point in my life, I think.
Okay, tonight's conductor. How did you carry on with Sonic from your point?
When did your life go off the rails?
Tonight's conductor. When did your life go off the rails?
Going off from the introduction stage, I mean, just ravenous consumption of the media that I could get my hands on, watching Sat AM on ABC, then after it made the jump to USA Network for whatever reason, recording those on tapes, getting it, grabbing all the issues of the comics, actually maintained that collection. I almost got the complete series now. But playing the games, I find it interesting that there seems to be a bit of a pattern in that probably around the time of the storybook series, a lot of fans kind of dropped off from Sonic, at least somewhat. Same thing happened with me.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Geez, so 06 and Secret Rings within a year of each other? I
As a
wonder
kid,
why this happened.
As a kid, I really wanted Sonic 06 for some reason. I have no idea why.
Same.
Oh, because
I also did.
it's
have
because
to
the
play
demo was actually fairly good, and
Yeah.
somehow we backslid from that. I don't understand how, but that's a topic for another time.
They made a
Oh,
great
God.
demo
we
and
could
nothing
legitimately
else.
fill an entire podcast episode with just talk about 06.
Yes, but
That'll be the
but
sixth
that'll be
episode.
the 2
But
hour
no one would-
special,
But
whatever.
no one would want to. No one wants to do that, though.
Carry on, TC.
Actually, I-
Johnny.
But yeah, I fondly remember being in the back of my Walmart playing the Sonic Adventure 1 demo over and over again, loving the adventure phase, going through, dropping off a little bit during the storybook era. Didn't really pick back up again until Colors and Generations came out, but going strong since then. Still a aficionado for the comics.
Yeah. Yoto, how did you degrade?
After, getting my friends into the games, they started getting in. And like I said, I was the only my immediate friends who didn't have a GameCube or a Dreamcast. And so I was out of the Sonic loop for a long time. But I got, I was into drawing Sonic a lot. All the drawings were terrible because I was a child, and children who like Sonic are the worst people. I wanted to find the Sonic because I always thought Sonic's great. He probably has a cartoon or something. And so I went to the Blockbuster because that was a thing, and I saw the Sat AM video. And unlike everyone else in existence, I watched it and I did not take to it at all. I was like, "Who are all
You'd be
these
surprised.
people?
A lot
Why
of people
can't
don't
tails
like
fly?
Hmm.
What's going on?"
Why doesn't Breezy have connected eyes?
That's SAOSTH again.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So then I went back And one day they just had a video there called Sonic the Movie. And I was like, wow, this looks like how Sonic should look. Because that was my big thing with like SatAM. I'm like, Sonic doesn't look like this. What? And so then I was like, this looks like how Sonic should look. I'll watch this. And I watched that video. And from that day on, I would frequently rent that video and watch it frame by frame. Like, I have probably seen every individual frame of that movie.
Strange.
In ultra slow motion.
Yes.
Like as a kid, that's what I would do. I would just take a movie and I would just play it frame by frame, and that's kind of how I was like, you know what? I think I just want to be an animator.
That's
And
interesting.
yeah. Afterwards, I didn't get another home console Sonic game till Heroes, which I loved. I loved the hell out of Heroes, and I still have a fondness for it. After that, Heroes was the only Sonic game I had on PlayStation 2. After that, I didn't get a PlayStation 3 until literally, what's it called?
Last year? 2000.
Generation came out.
Oh,
That's when I got a PlayStation 3. And so, what's it called? And so I missed out on 06 and everything. I got Unleashed for the Wii of all consoles.
I did too.
And that was my reintroduction to Sonic in like forever. I had Unleashed for the Wii, and then after that I got Colors. But I will say that I did keep up with the Game Boy Advance games for a really long time. I had Sonic Advance 2, 3, and Battle. I played those all the time.
Sonic
But I did kind of. But yeah, between the last Advance game and Sonic Unleashed for the Wii, I basically fell off of Sonic 2 because I was in high school and stuff. I was trying to not be a Sonic guy.
Yeah.
Then Generations comes back out. I started getting back into Sonic, and then I just started checking out the comic like last year.
Well, for me, again, it's interesting listening to all of you guys talk about how you really grew up with Sonic. I guess, again, weird anomaly within this group in the fact that I was never really big into Sonic until fairly recently. As I said, I've played the games on the Genesis, on the Mega Drive. I played the Mega Collection, but really, I was never that into Sonic. I mean, not even any of the comics or the cartoons, which again, I'm sure a lot of you who know me would find that really surprising. I watched a bit of Underground at a Hotel once, and it was in German, so I do remember that, and when I was playing through the Mega Collection, I kept thinking, when does the green hedgehog or the purple hedgehog turn up, and, how does that fit in? I remember when Heroes came out and few people played that at prep school, but again, I was never really big into Sonic. I was more into FPS games and RTS games. And so the way I came into Sonic was really... What? Sorry?
I said phrasing.
Yeah. The way I came into Sonic was through the internet, ironically, considering how terrible Sonic fandom is.
Phrasing again. But...
Yeah.
Oh, is my voice freezing, or...
No, I'm
phrasing. He's innuendo, do ho ho.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Sorry. So
use the phrase coming into Sonic.
Pinballing into Sonic.
How I came into Sonic.
Say, God.
Well,
Sorry.
that's
Right.
I'm sorry.
So the way I the way I got into Sonic in a big way, or at least in a
Learning.
Sorry, God, you beasts. Right.
You can't win.
I've ruined this for you. I'm sorry.
Yes. The way I got back into Sonic really was around 2008, 2009, when I began watching the old cartoons on YouTube, because I'd always been interested in cartoons and animation, all the rest of it, so I'd watched a bit of DuckTales and other 90s cartoons. Well, actually, I had watched Adventure Sonic Hedgehog way back when I was a kid, like a very brief glimpse of it on someone else when I was flicking through channels, and I think I caught the end of the Robotnik Express. Yeah, only 90s kids remember. But basically, I went onto YouTube, I watched the series, AOSTH, which I enjoyed. Satam, I just found dull. That's just me. And then I began to take screen caps of AOSTH and Sonic Underground, and I watched the annotated version of Sonic Underground, which is, if you don't know, the Annotation Station is a YouTube channel which basically... used to do, because YouTube's killed annotations for some reason.
As of this recording.
But that was just a fun channel which riffed on Sonic Underground and actually Satam later on. So that was how I sort of grew into it, and I met people in the fandom, and I went to Summer of Sonic in 2012 or 2013. And then I went to Summer of Sonic in 2016, and really I bought some of the games. I bought Unleashed for the PS3, I bought Generations. I love Sonic Unleashed, that was my first 3D Sonic game, and really the ball just kept rolling, because from around 2010, I guess, I began to do drawing again. I mean, when I was a kid, I just drew tanks and guns and stuff. So it's kind of odd here, because you all, well, I don't say you all, but most of you were sort of guys who were Sonic fans from a young age, and you did drawings, or you watched the cartoons, or you played the games growing up. And I knew about Sonic, but I was never really a Sonic kid or a Sonic fan until I became legally an adult. And
you were never a Sonic fan, you were only a Sonic man.
A Sonic man, yes. But I didn't really become a Sonic man until, fairly recently in my, lifetime. So I guess that's kind of an interesting comparison to make here between us. So now that we've all talked about how we started and how we got into the series, what is your favourite memory from the Sonic the Hedgehog series, or your favourite memory pertaining to it? And what's your most interesting piece of Sonic merchandise, if you have any? Blazy.
Alright, my favourite memory for the franchise as a whole, it's outright, it would have to be the Comics Marathon Online that I got into the comics through, because that whole thing was such a trip, just experiencing all of it with the absolute cacophony that was all the reactions and the sheer amount of content that was being made. It was like nothing else. And for most interesting piece of merch, I don't have it yet, but I've actually been planning around something for actually being able to make a Sonic-themed arcade stick.
Oh wow, that's really... I mean, that's not even merch though. That's like your own thing. That's really cool.
Well, to be fair, I'm just going to be buying a stick, and I plan to be just commissioning the art and stuff, and commissioning the art, custom buttons, and the whole thing. But yeah, that's going to be a thing, and I'll be more than happy to share pics.
Oh yeah, well we'll post them up somewhere. When we figure out where we're hosting this all. Garrico? Favorite memory, favorite thing?
I don't know. I don't really have a lot of favorites, but in terms of what Sonic merchandise I had, because I was a little kid growing up with Sonic, I used to have a lot of Sonic toys. One of the ones I remember was you could literally pull off Sonic's arms because they had the little ball sockets.
Yeah.
And I had a Sonic and Shadow toy that you could do it on, so I used to swap their arms around and do stupid stuff like that.
Sonic's arms are not black!
Let's not get into the ethics of Sonic's arm color.
Yeah.
Just
that's an entire, debate. Another hour.
Just give him some like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arms.
Or Hulk
Sonic's
hands.
drunk.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Sonic toys. One of the things I have is like a Tails plushie.
Oh.
One of my relatives, who was like a little baby at the time, used to love that plushie because you would press like the hand and it would like say something. But in terms of memory, though,
Please don't touch me there. Please, Sonic, no.
I'm not legal yet,
I don't want to
Sonic.
go with you anymore.
I wonder what happened to Sonic.
Look at all those Eggman's robots.
Hey, Knuckles, what's up?
Well, my head's spinning. But in terms of memories, though, I got a lot of good memories with Sonic. So one on its own is probably too difficult to find. But one I can think of that does stand out was way back when I used to play Melee on the GameCube.
Trying to get the Cruel Melee secret rumor.
Yeah, the one where I used to try and unlock Sonic in there. Me and my brother used to think that Sonic was an unlockable character, and we used to try and unlock him all the time. But
Shout out to the EGM.
And that kind of relates to one of my favorite memories, which was when Brawl was in development, and we saw like this
The Sonic reveal.
reveal of Sonic. Yeah, it was like Sonic kind of coming down, and we were just like, "Oh, that's not Sonic in Smash Bros." Because we just saw like Sonic just landing, like it was a new bit of CG, but it had no relation to Smash Bros. And then eventually we saw him turn around to the Smash cast, and that's when me and my brother just lost our shit. We were just like, "Oh my god!" And we were just so hyped for that.
Well, I'll be honest. The reveal of that on the Smash Bros. Website was going to be my number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sonic
Rick?
in Brawl was a movement.
Yeah, okay. Rick, what's your favourite memory and favourite thing?
For memory, it's kind of tricky to pick because I have been around so long and I'm so old and forgetful. I'll go with the earliest one, which is probably...
Back in my day, there were only...
Back in my day, when
Just
we
Legends.
only had 16 bits and 2 dimensions. I remember playing co-oping Sonic 2 with friends was always a blast, and I remember renting Sonic and Knuckles for the first time, and that was just an absolute ball, plugging it into like as many games as I could find to see what happened. But yeah, I mean, there's been a ton of stuff, right, through the Dreamcast games coming out to finally getting to play stuff like Fighters on the collection and stuff like that. Like beating Sonic R trying to unlock Tails Doll in Sonic R, doing that tag mode where you have to play as the Tails Doll and touch Super Sonic. Like, I've done a whole bunch of stupid shit.
And merch? I mean, I think you have some spinning signs you made, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I made some goalposts last year, which was kind of neat. I found a place that was going out of business and selling all the signage, and they have, like, price signs that are just the right size to make little portable sort of goalpost spinners. But the best piece of merch that I've got is an issue of the Sonic comic, which I have a picture in. And I'm not telling you which one it is.
Oh.
But that's actually really cool. I didn't know you had made the goalposts.
Yeah, I threw it together a while back, actually. I was meaning to make a new version of it for Mania. So when I find out what the Mania goalpost looks like, I'm going to do one. But I've gone completely cold into Mania, so I don't know what any of it looks like.
Yes,
Gotcha.
well, I think
Mania
I'll
is
try and
actually
do the same
3D
if I
rendered.
can. But yeah, we'll put some links to those in the description. Simple. What's your favourite memory, favourite thing?
Favorite memory would have to be, the Smash Bros. Release. Well, just the reveal, because when I got Brawl, it took 2 hours to get it home, and then I figured out tripping.
You're like, oh no, this game is terrible.
You mean in real life or in the game?
In the game. I hadn't played Melee before that, but still, I played a Smash Flash game though.
I also did that.
Oh yeah, Super Smash Flash.
Yeah, and close second would have to be that time where I did the David Bowie type thing, where I only ate and drank a specific food.
What, chili dogs?
No, not chili dogs.
I'd be worried because he
milk.
said drink.
No, I
Blend
didn't.
chili
I
dogs?
chocolate milk isn't alcoholic, is it? I don't think it is.
I mean, you'll be a chocoholic if you drink that too much.
I'm gonna jump off. Okay.
Okay. So favorite thing?
Favorite merchandise.
If any.
I was out with some friends a while ago after we had gone to a local roller rink, and we went to Walmart, and we went to Target, and I looked in like the merchandise section. I saw some Sonic the Hedgehog socks. I had some money. You can figure out what happened next. I have Sonic the Hedgehog socks now.
That's quite cool.
Oh, I thought you put all the money in the sock and used it to beat people with. Fill the sock with dimes.
No, he
the
filled it
great
with rings.
Sonic the Hedgehog sock murderer.
It actually has like little spikes on the
Someone
end.
goes to the police, like, did you see the man who attacked you? And you're like, no, he was too fast.
With the sock and it split and all the coins fell out.
You were too fast.
Just like
You
rings.
just hear like
Yeah,
You see
I
him
know.
with the
echo in
spikes.
the distance of baldy nose hair.
Okay. TC, what's your favorite memory,
The
favorite
socks
thing?
actually have spikes on the back.
Rick, this is there's a lot to choose from. There was the first time I saw a commercial for Set AM. There was the Sonic reveal and Brawl, but overall, I think the best time that I had in the franchise was, like Blaze said, conducting the Sonic the Hedgehog marathon back in 2015, I think it was. Yeah, it was 2015. That was a ton of fun for me because that was really the first major interaction that I had with people that so strongly shared an interest with this franchise that I literally grew up with. So, as far as favorite piece of merchandise, I do have a Sonic and Tails plush that I had as a really little kid when they were first released. But I think my favorite one is the box set of Set AM that I have with the infamous Ken Penders cover.
I was just about to ask if it had that.
Yeah, that's just an interesting story, which we can do another time, about how he basically conned his way into doing that, and actually as a result, I think Milton Knight offered to do AOSTH's cover, but Cookie Jar or DHX basically said no because they realised that they had been sort of, fooled into thinking that Ken Penders was really, big into Sat AM, and they thought Milton Knight was again just some poser coming along trying to, get himself on the
Once
cover.
again, Ken Penders ruins everything for
Exactly.
everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Shadow, your
Not
next
without even
assignment is to
realising
kill
it.
Ken Penders.
That's really good. We'll have to.
Holy shit.
That's great. I was thinking of doing like a quiz sort of thing. We could do do
Who
impersonations.
ruined
or-
Sonic? Penders.
Yes.
Who ruined the
Bazooka.
comic? Who ruined the movie? Who ruined this? Penders.
We're just wearing out the Penders button on our...
Penders.
Who ruined my love life? Penders? God damn.
We need like an air horn every time someone says Penders.
Yes. Yoto, favorite memory, favorite merch.
Now, I'm not quite sure what I would say my favorite memory is. It might be very recent, like when I went to Sonic Fan Jam, which was very fun because I got to meet, the man, the myth, the meme, Aaron, and that was fun. I also ended up talking to ABT and
Adam Bryce Thomas.
Adam Bryce Thomas and Ian Flynn, all day. Part of me is worried, I came off, really obnoxious because I just ended up talking to them all day. I just really like talking to people.
Favorite merchandise.
I don't really own much Sonic merch. It's kind of weird because I never really thought about that until now. But I
I
guess
don't
maybe
really either.
my current favorite is the signed Chaotix 1 comic I got from that con. The most recent arc with the Chaotix.
Yeah.
I got a signed copy from Yardley. That was, and the sad part is this because he had a signed Mania, and I really wanted that, but I stepped away for a bit, and he sold it off, and he actually felt kind of bad. He was like, "Oh man, I totally forgot. I thought I had an extra one here, and I didn't." So
you hesitated.
Yeah, and I was like, "Nah, it's my fault.
You gotta be fast."
Yep. Like, it was my fault for walking away.
You said
but
the magic word.
Yeah.
So he was nice about it, and he actually just gave me the Chaotix one for free. I was like, "Oh, that's super cool of you."
That's decent of him.
Yeah.
As for me, I suppose I have two memories. The first one would probably be, and this is very specific, it's when I beat the rescue mission level hub mission from Shamar in Sonic Unleashed. That level is balls hard. Like, you have to have very fast reflexes, and you have to memorize it, basically. And I was really frustrated at that level, and I beat it. And when I beat it, I felt absolutely ecstatic because I knew that I wouldn't have to do it again. And the second sort of, memory, I suppose actually I'm going to cheat and just say both Summers of Sonic, which I went to. Going to those conventions, it is fun because you get to relax a bit, you get to talk to fairly like-minded people. I met Izuka-san and Yuji Naka. I've met Mike Pollock. I've met one of the British Sonic comic artists whose name escapes me. I'll probably have to put up an image or something. Who's the other guy who did Boxer Hockey?
Tyson Hess.
I met him, and I can't the other guy, but just the whole experience. I mean, I'm not the biggest fans of cons for the reason which I mentioned earlier, but at the same time, I like them. I guess they're guilty pleasures of mine, for whatever reason. Favourite merchandise? Either the 25th anniversary coin, or the 2 animation cells I have of Dr. Robotnik from Adventures on Hedgehog in the buff.
I want the coin.
I know you do, and
buff.
I'll have to. And when I say in the buff, I mean like not wearing any clothes.
I assume that's what you meant.
Yeah, I know, but some might be thinking buff, like strong,
he's muscular.
Muscular. So yeah, that's my favourite memory, favourite merch. And yes, I think that just about wraps it up. The only thing we have left to do is to make plugs for whatever, or shill, if we will.
Shill if you will.
If you want to mention a site or a other thing you do, just anything which you think the audience might be interested in learning about.
If you enjoy listening to my beautiful voice talk about things that are unimportant and arbitrary, you should go check out all the other podcasts I do at podnami.libsyn.com. I do several podcasts. We watched through all the episodes of Pokemon in a segment called Podgamon. We watched My Hero Academia, which we called My Podcast Academia. There's a writing-based podcast called Pen and Daggers. And the titular podcast is Podnami, which is an entire podcast just based off of the current state of the Toonami block on Cartoon Network, or Adult Swim, rather. So, if you really want to hear me, podcast with other people and be much ruder, check those out.
I want to do voice acting, so I'm going to start uploading some reels here after, I don't know, whenever I get around to it. So, consider me for, voice things, because I like to do voices.
Oh, we heard your Black Doom impersonation.
Which I didn't know I could do.
Oh. Well, it's just the Dr. Claw voice.
No, I'm just playing.
Next time, Gadget. Next time.
Next time, Gadget.
Yes. Well, we'll
either Dr. Doom
put a
or
link
the Rock
in.
Biter.
We'll put a link to all of these in like the video description. Okay, TC, do you want to do something?
Nothing in particular on my end.
Okay,
no.
I mean, I'm sorry, it's just...
I think I might. If I find anything Sonic related that I think might be cool, I might pass it along in future videos.
Okay, cool. Rick?
Okay, well, if you're looking for anything that I do, basically search up Rick Draws online. That's RIKDRAWS. I'm on Tumblr, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on a whole bunch of crap. Along with that, I do a podcast, which used to be weekly, with a buddy of mine called Matt, and we go by the name of Rick and Matty, which is on SoundCloud. And what we do is a podcast called Reuse Your Old Adventures, where what we do is we play through adventure game books and choose your own adventure books and have a jolly old time shouting at each other while one of us plays the book and one of us reads the book.
That sounds really fun,
Which
actually.
we all...
Yeah, I was actually going to say, like, I actually kind of, yeah.
I'd like to do that, actually.
Do you do it in the rules of Rick and Morty?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I was going to not listen to your podcast just because of the name, but maybe I will, because it actually sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The best part is he absolutely hates Rick and Morty. And
That's
he
great.
He came up with the name and he didn't realize it was a thing.
I don't watch it myself, but...
In the future, be doing
anyone
some
else?
of the Sonic Choose Your Own Adventure books. We will be getting to those.
Oh,
I didn't even
yes.
know I didn't even know there were those.
I'm still waiting on
Actually,
Sally
we
thing.
could have, like, a crossover podcast. We'll see.
Gasp.
Blazy, do you want to plug something or not?
I don't have anything for myself that I can plug, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw the reminder out for people, especially if you do enjoy the Archie comics, that some of the artists that do work for the book, like Tracy Yardley and Adam Bryce Thomas, do have Patreons. So if you like their work, and, well, since they're not getting any from the comic right now, go hit them up.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Yeah,
Blaze.
That's a very good point.
Garrico?
The only thing I'm bothered about plugging is probably my Tumblr, which goes by the same name as me, so it shouldn't be too hard to find.
Mm-hmm. And as for me, well, I've got Not Another Sonic Vlog on Tumblr, which is, if you're into any of the old Sonic cartoons, specifically the Western ones made by Deke.
That's you?
What?
That's you?
That's me, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I do that.
I didn't know.
Yeah, well...
You have no life outside of the group, man.
Yeah, okay. So, Not Another Sonic Blog, if you are interested in silly screen caps of Sonic cartoons made by Deke from the 1990s. And I also do a podcast / well, okay. And I also do a podcast called Deke Heads, which is the Annotation Station podcast, and the Annotation Station is the YouTube channel I mentioned earlier, where people, well, at least used to riff
Rest in
on
peace.
old cartoons and other oddities using annotations, which is, somewhat funny, I'd say, but
I always enjoyed it. It always
yeah, I
brightened up
mean,
my day.
if you want to watch an old cartoon and read all the snarky comments you're thinking of, then there you go. We have a lot of fun there, and yes. So, that is everything, I'd say. We've juiced, we've jammed, we've gone up, down, all around. Let's sign off for now. I was Bloke / fattoler.
Blazy?
I was Yoto again.
I am and will always be simple.
You're a conductor for tonight.
And my lawyers have advised me to not admit to being Rick.
And I am just the normie Greco.
Yes. Well, thanks everybody, and we'll see you whenever we're next doing this. Hopefully on a fairly regular basis, and we'll discuss, well, whatever. We'll see what happens. Thank you very much for joining us, and goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Fastcast.
Goodbye, PodFasters, Fastcasters, whatever.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.